Oh, we're all frozen.
Welcome, you're live.
Hello, hello, and welcome everybody. I'm Wendy Curnew-Harris. I am a co-owner of Big Girl Interrupted. I am a transformational life coach who specializes in trauma. I am so happy to be here tonight with a panel of fantastic women who want to share some of their expertise and their personal opinions and stories on the bajillion questions that we had come in. I am going to let Hazel introduce herself, and then I will come back to introduce you to the panel.
I am Hazel, one of the co-founders of Big Girl Interrupted. I am an internal transformation coach as well as a business coach. And welcome to What Are Women Talking About? Mm-hmm. I'm so excited.
Me too.
Yeah.
So first up, we have the dynamic and beautiful Anna. Anna's going to fill us in on what she brings to the table today.
Thank you so much, Wendy. It's such a pleasure to be here. My name is Anna Lewis. I am the owner and operator of Halftime Physique Body Contouring. I am a body contouring specialist with a background in fitness and nutrition. I am also a mother of 4. Currently, I have had the opportunity to not only transform bodies, but to encourage active and healthy lifestyles. As well, I have taken my my techniques and been able to kind of master them, and am training internationally. So that's a little bit of what's going on now, and I look forward to hearing more about the others on this panel, and just really getting engaged tonight.
Amazing. Thank you for joining us, Anna. We can't wait to hear more about what you do. Next in line, we have the ever beautiful Catalina.
Thank you very much for inviting me, ladies. I'm super excited to be here. My name is Catalina Ituaro Quinones. I am 46 years old. I have a background and a degree in medical sciences. I have been working in the insurance field for about 15 years. I am now a retired accident benefits adjuster and now transitioning into a holistic medical realm. I am the owner and operator of a Queen Dot Lashes, and I'm looking into creating beautification for ladies as a new world for me. I'm also a mother of 2 children with medical they have disabilities. It's mental health disabilities, but doing very well, even though we're transitioning out of this COVID pandemic. And I'm really happy to meet everyone else and see what we all have to offer our guests tonight.
Me too. Thank you, Kat. And then next on the list, we have the effervescent Saira.
Hi. Just want to say first, thank you so much for inviting me and for having me here to speak with all your the other wonderful guests. My name is Saira Charlene. My pronouns are she and her. I identify as being Indo-Caribbean, Canadian. I am a child and youth care practitioner. So I currently work as an internship coordinator at a post-secondary institution, as well as I am a contract lecturer there. During the pandemic, it has blessed us with time and time for me to start my own not-for-profit with my mom. And I'm also a mama of a 5-year-old rambunctious little boy, and I'm pretty sure he will come and say hello at some point. Right now his dad is keeping him occupied, but yes, I look forward to chatting.
Fantastic. And last but certainly not least, we have the beautiful Jennifer.
Hi, I'm Jennifer Tang. Thank you so much for having me today. I'm really excited to talk about what women are talking about. I finished my Bachelor of Science, and then I went on to do my doctorate degree in naturopathic medicine. The passion really comes from just personal medical and also family history. Really made me ambitious about what I'm doing. And I really love to empower and educate and advocate for women of different health journeys, bringing them together and creating community. And I'm really excited to talk with everyone about their experiences. And I currently work at a clinic in Vaughan.
Very nice. So the structure of this evening is we had a ton of questions come in. Women are very wanting to talk about a whole lot of things. So we're just going to dive right into it. We have all the questions. We've thrown them into a bowl. If we didn't get to your question tonight, we're really sorry, but there's going to be more parts to this series. So we will definitely hang on to your questions. So Hazel has the bowl.
So the first question, and if you have any questions, please put them in the chat as well. We'll answer them there as well.
Absolutely.
Ready? First question.
Yes.
What do you want to be best known for?
It's a good question.
Anybody want to take it first? Nobody wants to jump in first.
Sure, I'll go ahead. I was waiting to see if we were going to get directed or something. So yeah, I'll go first. I thought about this quite some time ago, and I had to think about it when a friend of mine passed away. I want to be known for being caring and empathizing with people as much as I can on their level and helping them. That's it.
I think that's a fantastic goal.
I love that. I really love that, Catalina. I think for me, like I really want to be known for being a role model for other Indo-Caribbean young people in academia. I never saw myself at the front of the classroom, ever. And so for me now, as a person who is in academia, teaching other young brown girls who are coming up to me saying, I've never had a brown professor before. I've never had anyone who looks like you teaching me before, is like pushing me to continue with my studies and doing my PhD and writing and like putting my books out and being an author, etc., and doing everything else I'm doing. So I think, and I'm not just doing it for me, like I'm also feel like I'm doing it for my son. So he can also be at the front of the room if he chose to. So
wow,
beautiful.
that's beautiful. Mm-hmm.
I think for myself, it's going to depend on who you ask. From children to friends, to colleagues, we have, these amazing relationships with people all around us, and the energy we get off of them as well influences the way in which we can impact their lives. But I think in general, being able, with my current position of what I'm doing now, I think being able not to just, transform the physical, but also transform the mental. So how we look at ourselves as women, how we value and appreciate things about ourselves that we may not have looked at in that way before.
Yes. That's
agreed. Good. Such great points.
Yeah.
For me, I really want to be known for being a guide in women's health. And why I say guide is because I feel like a lot of the times when I see patients, a lot of the times they just say, thank you so much for listening. And thanks for just being there and kind of empowering me, educating me, because I've never gotten that before. And what I've learned through my own journey too is that sometimes people forget that you're the one that's the main.
Oh no, Wi-Fi.
She's frozen.
And
oh dear.
I just need. Oh no.
You're
back. You guys, or am I here?
We see you. It's working. Oh, it froze again.
Okay, good. I'm frozen again.
No, you're good now.
I'm good. Okay, sorry. But yeah, what I was just saying is, I feel like a lot of the times we just forget that, you know, you're the one that's in charge of your story, and you know your body best. This is your body. We're just here to kind of empower you and kind of guide you to the right direction. But all in all,
Oh boy.
body best. And sometimes we just need. Hi,
Yep.
am I still there?
Yes, you are.
All right.
I don't know. We're all at the whims of technology, right?
Was I cut off or was that good?
That was great.
That was fine.
That was
Okay.
great. Yeah.
Thank you.
And
Ready
I
for
think, ladies, this
Go
is
ahead.
like an absolute perfect representation of what we talk about, Hazel and I, a lot of the time, that us as women are so many things to so many people. And look at what we want to leave. This is the legacies we want to leave. It's beautiful.
Mm. Mhm.
What about you, Hazel? Do you have an answer to that question?
What's my that I was able to at least touch a little piece of somebody's heart, each of every person that I'm in contact with, that I'm able to leave something in their heart. I like that. Yeah.
You touch mine, Hazel. You touch mine. It's awesome.
Wendy?
Yes, that's beautiful. What do I want to be known for? I want to be known that I left this world with a little bit of peace. That I raised my son to be a proud man that's going to carry on with an empathetic way, if that makes any sense. And then he'll pass that to my grandchildren, and there will always be some kind of care left in the world. I guess maybe really touching people's hearts is kind of the same thing, Hazel.
You touch my heart too, Wendy.
Oh, thank you. And that's I left the world a little bit better.
That's nice.
Mm-hmm. Perfect.
Okay. Ready for we're going in deep now.
That's okay. We didn't take long.
So what are some ways women can prepare for the physical changes your body goes through at 40?
I'm going to pass. I'm not there yet.
Same.
Are you worried about that?
I'd like to know the answer. Please.
Okay, so for Anna, when I saw this question, I was like, the woman, because you do, like, you're bootylicious, bottylicious. But what are the women, like, what are the age range of women coming to you? Because you, like, take flat bums and make them big. If you don't,
we do. I do a combination of things, right? So that's getting into a little bit more than the question is asking. I mean, in general, there are some just, genetic, what's the word I'm looking for? There's some things that we can't fight, right? So we know as we age, we're going to get a reduction in collagen production. We know that the hormones that help to feed and stimulate the growth of our muscles decrease. We know that, all those years of either stress, alcohol abuse, sugar abuse, or whatever starts to catch up with us. And this even happens in our mid-30s, right? Like we start to notice these effects that are just, you can't escape, right? Even things from outward sources like pollution, right? Sun exposure. Do I think that there is, I'm not in a position to say how to prepare. I am in a position of encouragement where I'm like, if you're there or you're getting there, you do the fundamental things to keep your mental health and your physical health well. You drink your water, you focus on your nutrition, you live an active lifestyle, right? But these are fundamentals of living active in general, right? What you focus your thoughts on and so forth. But yeah, so I mean, I'm not at 40 yet. I have dealt with a lot of women who are in their 40s, and again, it's I encourage the same kind of principles that I just mentioned. However, to speak from my own experience, I can't necessarily. So I think, you know, just recognizing, you know, age is a beautiful thing, and just preparing for it with love and rejoicing that you've come.
I love that answer.
Thank you.
I agree with Anna.
Right?
I agree with Anna. From experience, yes. And I'm very proud to say that I'm turning 47 because I have dealt with cancer and I have overcome it and other health risks that come along. But I think Anna's completely correct with regards to embracing yourself and allowing yourself to feel how you feel and validate yourself, because you know yourself best. And your mom may tell you what she went through, but that may not be your road. So a good support group, good friends, a good opportunity to have someone next to you to listen, because a lot of the hormonal changes make you feel isolated. So don't do that to yourself. And yeah, just embrace it. And
right? Let that gray grow in, ladies.
Gray is in. Don't you see the girls dyeing their hair? Like, come on.
It's so true.
It looks beautiful.
It does. Jennifer, I mean, this is kind of your specialty area as well, right? So let's hear from you.
Yeah. I love how you mentioned like hormones and stuff, because, you know, at that age, there's so much fluctuations in hormones, and something that I'm really passionate about in like working at clinic and stuff is that I find that women just didn't get that education on their bodies. And, you know, I did a workshop yesterday on just everything periods and introducing hormones, and so many questions and so many common myths get brought up. Like I had one person say that they thought estrogen was the only female hormone that we had. And it's a common thing that we think, right? Because all we hear about is estrogen. But there's so much more. Like there's progesterone, there's the gut. Like our gut hormone connection is such a huge component in our health and determining what we need. And, you know, it doesn't have to be hard. You know, I know, like, you know, getting into the perimenopausal stage, a lot of women just dread it because they think, okay, it's for sure just going to be a bad experience. But the thing is, if we empower each other, we talk about it more, right? And we have support, like we support each other and we educate, and we just learn, like when you learn about your body, you learn how to love it. So I feel like that's so important.
So I'm just going to summarize that, because really and truly everybody had the same theme, which is really just really loving yourself, right? And embracing the where you're at in life. So that's the way and you got to start loving yourself from way before you're 40.
But one of the things that I really do appreciate about, you know, I wouldn't say specifically this generation or the generation, but the communication now, whereas, you know, growing up, I didn't know about a lot of uterine conditions or issues I experienced as a woman, right? And now that I'm dealing with women, I'm working primarily with women, and the communication that we have, you know, talking about aging, talking about things like, you know, the perimenopause that you were discussing, you know, endometriosis, polycystic ovaries, things that were, you know, if you had a heavy period, it was normal. If you had, abdominal pain, it was normal. But like this, the communication systems we have now, social media, where people are able to access information to meet others, who, even relevant to this question, Catalina, I think you were saying, have a group of women. Like, we are talking about these things so that we're not feeling alone, right? And you mentioned isolation is a big thing. So I really love that we have access to these resources, that there are women on Instagram, on Facebook, there's Facebook groups, right? Where you can meet women from all over the world who are experiencing similar issues. And I say all these things that you may consider strange or that are happening to you that you don't understand or are odd, you're going to find somebody else who's going through the same thing, right? And I just really love, although we're in a sense of like this electronic, isolation, there is still this community.
Right.
And a total, like, just to like add on to that, 100%, in terms of like support groups, like I had just over the pandemic, I joined like a Facebook group for my condition, my infertility condition. And I posted about like my journey, and I found one person who has the specific inversion that I have on my eggs. And now we're like we message, she's in Minnesota, and we message each other every day. And it's like, she's like my best friend, but I've never met her. But like, we can just like she just knows what I'm going through, and I know what she's going through. And it's just like, it's just a beautiful relationship. So like, yeah, no, totally. I love that in terms of like the support groups. Like it's so important.
Very nice. Great answers, everybody.
Yeah. Awesome. I would like to share. I have my chief healthcare officer is Catalina. She's the one that takes care of my health. And because we're on this topic, I too in September had to make the final decision of having a full hysterectomy. And the changes that my body was going through, and I'm still going through and dealing with it every day. But Catalina like introduced me to an awesome pelvic therapist, which was a whole other experience.
and that's a thing now. Like that never was, learning about our pelvic floor. And it's like, I had a son 13 years ago. You think anybody told me about that? Right?
Oh boy. And what an experience it is. And I said to the therapist, and it's a physiotherapist. That's the other thing. It's a physiotherapist that does this. But when I went into my appointment, I wasn't expecting what I received in terms of my treatment. It was definitely, we need to educate the young girls and young women about this, because she said that, a lot of doctors are starting to send women to these type of therapists after they have babies, because you need to go. You actually, it should be like part of your treatment plan. You have a baby, you go to a pelvic therapist after the 6 months.
100%.
Yeah, but thanks to Catalina, and she's my healthcare person. She takes care of me.
She's your chief. What do they call it? Chiefs? What? Oh, I forget the name. Totally had a brain fart, but
I'm good with chief.
Yeah, chief. She's
the master of your medical care.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing.
Thank you. Ready for the next question?
Let's move on.
Okay. Question. How do you motivate yourself to get up in the morning when you don't really have anything to get up for?
I guess I can go first one.
Oh,
sorry. Go ahead.
I just wanted to touch on that one because I read that one, and that really, took me aback. I'm fortunate that through this, again, I've got 4 kids. Like I've always, I know I got to get up for them too, but I'm really interested to hear everybody's response to this question, because I think it is an important thing to address. But I got to say, I think this was a really good question, and it did, when I read it, it did really make me think. So I'm interested in, hearing what you ladies have to say too, because
In the beginning of the pandemic, we were trying to, like when everything was shut down, I guess it was a year ago, we shut down the clinic and we were home because we didn't know what was going to happen. And I remember, I think I realized that, I love my job and I love being in naturopathic medicine and being with patients and stuff. But I think I learned that so much of what I value in myself was connected to how much I was doing. How much are you working? What are you getting done in the day? Like, is your schedule filled up? Because if it's not, like, you're not doing it right. And I realized that, like, I kind of hit a low because I felt like, I was getting up at whatever time I wanted. And I was kind of like, I don't know what I'm doing. Like, I'm so not used to being busy, and what is my worth and if I'm not busy? And I just kind of realized that sometimes we need that. Like, sometimes we need to slow down, and sometimes we need to have that sort of mental check to be like, how are you doing? Like, let's catch up on reflecting on how you actually feel in the moment. So I guess from that, I started telling myself that it was okay to slow down and to have days where I don't, like, I want to sleep in and I want to take it slow that day. I don't want to do too much on my to-do list. I don't know if that resonates with anybody, but yeah.
That's great.
Yes.
And I think that, again, I think that you have a really great point there, because I think as women, especially, we look for permission to slow down, right? And that you were able to take that initiative and see that, no, this is me. I got this and I can do this and I don't have to check off everything today. That was a perfect answer.
I think I have like a different perspective for that. Like that question. So in December, I suffered a loss of at 10 weeks. So I lost the baby at 10 weeks. So this was my 5th loss. And like, I was just in a very low point. Like even like having my son, like as like a motivator to like wake me up in the morning, like it wasn't enough. Like I was really, really, like I hit rock bottom to the point where like, I just like what is wrong with me? Like, why can't this happen? Like it was really hard. And I didn't want to get up in the morning, and I didn't want to, like, I didn't want to go to work. I didn't want to do anything. And I reached out to one of my friends who's a therapist, and I called her while I was crying in bed, and she just like sat with me on the phone for like an hour and a half. And then she's like, listen, like, you need to talk to someone. Like I love you. I care about you, but I can't be your therapist. And you need to just, like, you can overcome this, and you will overcome this. And like, this is not the end for you, Saira. And so like I took that step to talk to someone, to help me out. And my husband, like he's just the most supportive person ever. Like, I'm just so grateful for him, because like it's not just a loss for me. Like, he's also going through that trauma, but obviously it's different for us and them. So like, he was just very supportive while I grieved through that process. But I feel like you need to talk to someone when you're at that point. Like, whether it's a friend or a therapist or someone to just help you get out of that funk. Because if you're there by yourself, like, you'll just continue to be there by yourself. And like, it's not going to get better. So for me, and I've been there several times. Like, I was there when I lost my dad in 2018. So like, having that support and being able to connect with a professional really helped me want to wake up and get out of bed.
Awesome. Anybody else want to touch on that one?
Thanks so much for sharing that, Saira.
I was just
Yes.
going to say, yes, thank you for that, because being vulnerable is part of being a woman. And
Absolutely.
it doesn't have to be a large part of us, but it's who we are.
So surprised I'm not crying right now.
And you know, this just there's a theme that's going on here. I don't know if anybody else has caught it yet, but the theme is community, and that we as women are our own community. And the one blessing that social media, as much as negativity is out there as social media, the one blessing that it's given us is there's no borders anymore. We can speak to anybody across the world. Saira, you have, you know, your friend in the United States that you call your best friend. That would have never happened. So for us to recognize that we are a massive community and we are here to support each other. That's really the theme of what's going on here right now. And I love it. I love it.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much for everybody's vulnerabilities.
Yeah. Ready for the next question?
Yes.
Okay. Has your intimate relationships with your partner blossomed or suffered?
This one's spicy. I was hoping this question was going to come up.
Okay. Have your intimate relationships with your partner blossomed or suffered with the pandemic? And if so, what are some tips or tricks you can give? And if it hasn't improved, what are you doing to improve it?
That's a lot to unpack.
Yeah.
So my husband's in the room.
Can we hear his interpretation?
I'm getting the look like, how are you going to answer that? So I'm going to let somebody else take it.
So I'll jump on that. So my husband and I have been together for 11 years. We've been married for 8. We've got the 4 kids. So I think, you know, we've never had an issue with intimacy, to be honest. And just with so many kids, I'm clearly, but I mean, but now with them all in the house, we just have kind of found creative ways, I guess, to be intimate. But intimacy is also a broad spectrum, right? So my husband provides me with a lot of support with regards to the business. So he, through my transition of being an employee, my working and my mentality of you know, my lifestyle, which was the 9-to-5 benefits, insurance programs, et cetera, transitioning into soul, like just working for myself, right? He was very supportive and has been encouraging throughout this whole process. And I think that to me is another form of intimacy, right? Because now we're connecting on a different level. And there are so many levels. So just physical, speaking of the one, isn't necessarily, that's not necessarily like the one part to discuss of growth here, right? And I know that there's been a lot of discussion with regards to what the pandemic is doing with the closeness. And I'll be real, like there are some days where I literally don't talk to my husband because I'm like, what am I going to ask? What did you do today? Like, I know what you did today. I was with you, right? That's also become okay, where it's like we don't always, you know, silence has also become intimacy, where we're just appreciating each other's peace. So for me, I mean, I can't say it's changed, although it has. But I think we're all finding new dynamics and new aspects of our relationship. So.
Great answer.
I'm just going to chime in here on during COVID. My husband and I caught COVID on I don't know when, February the 11th maybe, and I started to see the symptoms on the 13th. My husband did not leave my side for 1 second, even though I was like, you need to go to the spare bedroom, go away. Now, mind you, my husband is 12 years younger than me. I was a single mother for 16 years. I have a 23-year-old son and an 18-year-old daughter. My husband and I, like Saira, unfortunately, I had 10 pregnancies and only 2 children. So our relationship and our dynamic is different. It's not a sexually based relationship. And a lot of people think that that's a healthy relationship, and it can be. But for us, it's more than that. It's exactly like what Anna said. It's more support and love and compassion and understanding, and knowing when to give each other space, I think, is the trick of 11 years being together. We've only been married for 5. But when I was sick, he didn't leave my side, and he caught COVID purposely to not leave my side. And I thought to myself, okay, you know what? I'm changing my last name. I'm finally giving in.
That's so sweet. It's like a Romeo and Juliet story.
I thought to myself, if we're going to die together in this room, like a bowl of Jell-O is all we've got. And no one's coming to help us. And thankfully, we have an ensuite washroom. But it was a tough 3 weeks that we have never spent together if it wasn't for COVID.
Right.
Wow.
For me catching it, because he's like, he owns his own business, and aside from that, he works 7 to 6 at a roofing company. He's the operations manager there, so I don't see him, and we could maybe spend 2 hours a night on an average date. Friday nights are not hey, it's Friday night, because he goes to work on Saturdays. So we're lucky if we can cuddle puddle on a Sunday. So
Right.
yeah. So this was pretty intense.
Right. Anybody else want to chime in on that one?
So like, I feel like for us, it's interesting because it's like when it's ovulation time, it's go time. like, okay, Nakai's in front of the TV. I meet you upstairs in 5 minutes. Let's go.
I know that one.
Or I just put a movie on. Let's go.
Turn the shower on. Put some music on.
Like, there's been like so many times, and like our son broke the lock on our door, so like we've like had to like move like the side table to like make sure he doesn't walk in, because I don't want to scar him for life.
Sarah, just put Vaseline on your doorknobs.
Oh God.
Wendy, you
Anyways.
know that, though. The fact that you get that advice, I think
But so I'm like, we've been working with like a fertility clinic and a fertility naturopath. So like I'm like love the fact that you're doing naturopathic work, Jennifer. That's awesome, because I could not survive without my naturopath. Like I love her so much. And she specializes in fertility. So, and like the woman's body and all of that. But yeah, so I had a friend ask me this question, like doesn't it get exhausting? Like when you're ovulating, or like, do you guys still enjoy it? And I'm like, yeah, I think so. Just as long as I get some. like, you know, like whether, like, because it just makes it like it's like fun and exciting. Like he works in the basement and I work on the top floor. So regardless, we only see each other during lunch. And so whenever it is the go time, it's like, okay, like now, the doctor said now 24 hours, or this is the span we have, so you get your ass upstairs. So I just like, you know, like maybe like trying, like for me, like try wearing like sexy panties to spice it up a little bit. That's what he likes, like doing things that he likes.
Even his t-shirt. Wear his t-shirt, take those panties off.
Yeah. You know, but putting like soca music on, so at least we were like at a vibe.
Maybe drop your son off at grandma's for the day.
Yeah, no, the Friday nights, like it's nice when I'm ovulating on a Friday, because like he goes to my in-laws on Friday. So we have our go time. Yeah, but yeah, no, I think if anything, yeah, that's just our life in terms of like ovulation, go time.
It's so interesting to hear, because I guess I'm like behind you guys, like I'm not married yet. I've been with my boyfriend, like we just started dating right before pandemic. So I guess if you can think about like when you were dating your partners, you know, you do like really extravagant things and like it's like the honeymoon phase. But I guess for us, like it's been nice to kind of enjoy the simpler things and kind of find joy from that. I don't know if you guys watch the show The Bachelor or The Bachelorette, but you know, like they always have these extravagant dates, like they go to Thailand and then the next day they're somewhere else. And I feel like a lot of the times, you know, like when they come back to reality, it's like then they break up, right? Because it's like you're connected because of those adventures, because of those like you're traveling in the world. Obviously you're gonna have fun, but I guess it's like it really means a lot when you can enjoy the simple things, like when you can just relax on the couch and like just be with each other, you know. So I feel like I guess
like
that's
dating 11
that.
years ago was like the car was like the exciting time.
Yeah.
The backseat. If you know what I mean.
Yeah, we all know what you mean. We've all been there.
So Jennifer, the car. Just don't get caught. So, like, I've been caught before while on his lap. You don't want to get caught.
So I'm going to answer this question. I'm going to come at it from a much different perspective because I'm just going to be nasty. So I'm going to just say I'm an empty nester. My kids don't live in my house anymore, and that opens up a whole other Pandora's box in terms of your sex life. I'm just going to put it straight out. There's no having to be hush hush. You know, the kids might hear. So guys, you have that to look forward to. Me and my husband have been together 20 years this year. Married for 13, and definitely sex does not end at 40, or I can tell you that well, not with my husband anyway.
But when do you tidy up after, right? You do all the cleaning of the counters, the stairs, everything, right?
Lysol.
Cooking glass at Wendy's house.
So all I can say is, guys, there's a whole other life once your kids leave the house. You got to go through the emptiness of when your kids leave, but after they leave and you realize, hey, wait a second. So all you ladies have that to look forward to.
Oh, yes. Amazing. Okay, ready for next question?
Yep.
So the older I get, the worse my menstruational cycle becomes. Why does this happen?
So for my case, I started, and I don't even know why. Maybe I need to seek Jennifer's advice and come and make some appointments because I lost my menstrual cycle almost in 2016, and I'm 46, so that was really early. And to this day, I don't have an existent one. So I suffered with what's it called? Endometriosis.
Endometriosis?
Endometriosis?
No. Endometriosis. Adenomyosis. And dysmenorrhea since I was a child, like really bad ovarian cramping, uterine cramping, heavy periods, to the point where I was put on calcium supplements that seemed to help sometimes. But yeah, as women, our period saga continues. Like it's like never ending until we can make that ultimate choice like Hazel did and have it removed. But in the interim, it's a struggle.
So like what happens when you're not getting your period? Like do you still go through like the monthly like symptoms, like you're going to get it but it just doesn't come? Like
no, the ovulation stopped for me a year ago. And I don't have ovulation, so that the tenderness of the breasts and the achiness and the queasy feeling, it's all gone. Now it's like I'm 12. That makes sense. There's nothing. Like, there's really nothing. The hot flashes, is it really a hot flash? I don't know, because it's not every day that I get a tropical moment. But I do sit with the fan. I have one fan, and it's electric.
You know, I've heard, you know, I've seen a lot of, like, more and more patients get menopause so much earlier. And, you know, I think it has a lot to do with our environment. You know, the foods that we eat are so different now. Everything's sprayed with pesticides, everything's GMO, all that affects our hormones. What we use on our skin affects that, like having these toxic, they call it xenoestrogen. So just like things that are kind of masking estrogen. And stress plays such a huge role too, because progesterone, like when we're stressed, our progesterone levels go down. And we need, like, if we have progesterone down, then it kind of like prioritizes dealing with the stress, right? So then if it goes down, then estrogen is like falsely high, like it's like way higher than the progesterone. So that imbalance causes issues that women can experience. They call like estrogen dominance, but it's like falsely dominant. Okay. So I think there's so much that connects with our hormones in our bodies, and I think we just think it's normal, but it's not normal. It's just common. Yeah. And we just need to talk about that. So thanks for bringing that up.
Yeah, I've got to say, I really appreciate that question, because again, you know, dealing with women and having these conversations, like it comes up a lot. Like uterine health comes up a lot. And, you know, even the awareness that it was never talked about before. And I always appreciate these kinds of questions, and I appreciate women sharing this, because I still to this day don't believe that there is enough, even in regards to medical field, like there's not enough focus on women's uteruses. Like I was saying earlier, you know, some things, you know, you just said it is like some things are normal because it's common, right? But with regards, you know, to the change in menstruation and stuff too, you know, also kind of bringing it back to, from my experience, also the pelvic floor, which we were talking about earlier, right? So I've had 4 children, and I have noticed the change in my cycle, in my menstruations after each of them, and how it changed, right? But in my recovery phase, in the training that I do with regards, like either weightlifting in the gym, at the home, like with that kind of training, I was able to really like strengthen that area as well. So it was able to help with my flow, with the heaviness of the flow. So I know that's on the other spectrum, like with regards to uterine conditions, because those things are real, they do exist, and there's a wide range of them that women experience. This is more with the muscular portion of it, but that's just speaking on my experience for that question.
And that's an interesting point, because I have massive issues with bleed. I almost bled to death in 2014, Hazel, I think. And there's no answers. Nobody has any answers for me whatsoever. I've been told I have a bulky uterus, and the only thing that has stopped anything from happening is an IUD. And my gynecologist's information was, we're just going to put another IUD in and we'll check it out in another 5 years. So Yeah, and what do you do when when they can't find an answer? Like, there's
Right?
no logical reason why I bleed the way I do. So it's crazy. Our periods are. Sorry.
Sorry, I was just gonna say, like, I've had that experience as you, like, being pushed, but like with birth control. Like, I have intense, really painful periods in the past. And it wasn't until I was like working on my body with a naturopathic doctor that I actually felt better. But I was being pressured so hard to go on the pill to fix my hormones. And it's just like I wasn't understanding what was happening though.
Yeah.
And that happens all too often with young girls,
Yeah.
right? Like when you get your period, like I remember going to my doctor, 14, like I can't function. And he was like, okay, you're going on birth control. And my parents was like, what, yes, birth control?
Right. Yeah, it sounds like birth control was like the ultimate cure for any kind of woman's uterus. Because I had polycystic ovaries, and it was the same thing. Go on birth control; it'll regulate my period. I was like, and now hearing all of you guys, I'm like, so what? What's this magic birth control pill?
Like, meanwhile, it's the worst.
That's why I was put on calcium supplements. Yeah. But we had to go back to our family that are physicians in Colombia. And they said, you know, calcium, oyster calcium is what my parents put me on because they were totally against putting me on the pill. Because they're like, you're going to turn into a slut?
Yes. Gonna go take men.
So there's a question here on the side comments. As women, have you ever dealt with sexism, and how would you deal with it? I don't know if the question is with regards to the physicians, but I have dealt with that with multiple male gynecologists, and I deal with it like this. I solicit, or I am hiring my physicians because my OHIP is my credit card. So if I believe that that physician is not doing what I require or makes me feel inadequate when I'm asking a question, I am not a physician, then I will no longer patron that physician.
Right.
And that's where the group of friends, of female friends, like Anna was saying, having that support group and just letting them know, listen, I experienced this today. Do you have a doctor I could go to? Just ask your friends.
Thank you for that question.
Yeah. Thank you.
Has anybody else experienced sexism?
Oh yeah, and you know what? I think we all have, whether it's been, you know, in our face or very subliminal. I mean, we've all gotten at one point catcalls, or we've all been met by someone, you know, where their advancements were not, you know, what's the word I'm looking for? Like we weren't. Sorry, I'm at a loss. Hold on. So like we've all been we've all been approached by individuals for certain aspects, whether it's our look or the fact that our feminine qualities, we're sexy, we're this, and they feel like they are allowed to speak to us in a way that it's like, no, you know, whether it's that aspect. I think that is across the board. I do not understand why men think that they can talk to women certain ways. My funny story, my sexism story that I love to tell actually is when I was at the gym. So I love to lift weight and I love to lift heavy. And part of it is an ego thing for me because I'm like, I am a woman. I am strong. I am capable. I can do all things. And, you know, match me, like, come match me, right? And the man actually walked up to me and he looked at me and he says, oh, you lift a lot of weight for a woman. And I looked at him and I'm like, I'm lifting more weight than you. So what does that make you, sir? And I'm just like, you know, like, really? And the part that I enjoyed too is that there were other men who just kind of looked at him like, you're an idiot, right? So that's my experience. I think, you know, even if but as I mentioned, that was blatantly like in my face. Like, I feel like as women, we all experience it to some degree or another. But I find it so stupid that sometimes you just have to laugh because it's like you're an idiot.
Yes,
You know,
absolutely. Absolutely.
Anna, I relate to you. I have a similar story to you, Anna. I was at the gym and I was doing the lat pull down.
Mhm.
I had a man come up to me and he said, "You're a really small girl. You shouldn't be you lift a lot of weight." He put the weight down. He put the weight down on my machine. And he said, "Now do it."
Oh,
And
he's
I
lucky he's
put
a
it back and I was
university.
like,
I would have been like, you try it, buddy. Now you do it.
yeah. I put it back and I'm like, "I'm actually okay, thank you."
Yeah.
And
Wow.
he was still there. Like he was just watching me.
Yeah.
It was crazy. I couldn't believe it.
Wow.
Yeah.
But I do rejoice. I rejoice for those who have sons, like for us who have sons, because we have the opportunity to raise them different, right?
Good
Like,
Good
you
men.
know, we are creating the men of the future, and I live in hopes that, you know, no women will have to deal with what was normalized for us, right?
Yes.
100%.
Amen.
Yeah.
Amen.
Yes.
I agree. Okay, so we have about 4 minutes left. Do we want to answer one last question?
Let us do that.
Already? Only 4 already? How has it been so quick? Like,
I know.
Right?
an hour.
This has been so much fun.
We should continue.
Okay, let's do this one.
Oh,
Oh, there we go.
somebody's
So
coming.
I guess this is more. So what are some tips you can give mentally support women who are experiencing infertility?
Ah.
Okay. Because I've had 10 pregnancies and only 2 children, I still to this day remember the last one I lost, which was in 2016, which to me was like my crucial baby that I wanted to have for my husband more than for myself. Not as a bond, but as the experience of fatherhood.
Mhm.
I couldn't do it. And to this day, it brings tears to my eyes. But I've resigned myself to understand that what's meant for me, no one can take it away. It will come. And I have to have faith and believe that it will happen when it's the right time. Not my time, but the right time.
Right.
Because it hurts. It hurts to the deepest core.
Yeah.
And it's
Thank you
hard.
for
It's
sharing.
hard. It's hard for our partners to understand how we feel. But truthfully, it's not my time.
Right.
And it's supposed to happen.
I think every loss is a trauma on our body. Like every loss that we experience. I know for me, like it's hard. Like it's really hard. And even when you're pregnant, you wake up thinking, is this going to be the day the heart's going to stop beating? It's like that's all I think about, like or thought about. So I think for me it's more like I've really tried to connect with some form of like spirituality. Like I talk to like the universe. I've created my own person in my head that I pray to. It's a transgender person that's friggin' beautiful, a person of color. And so like a praying, I feel like I catch myself constantly praying throughout the day or just talking out loud to the universe. Having a support team, like people that actually like yes, I have my friends who are like who aren't where I am, but I also have like people who can like really understand and like empathize because they've gone through losses. Because I find that people who haven't necessarily gone through losses or like their husband can just sneeze on them and they get pregnant. Like it's hard for them to understand how I'm feeling. And I can't expect them to, but then they also can't expect me to open up about like what I'm going through, because then it's like there's like that not really understanding of how to support your friends. So if you like those friends who want to support their friends who are going through like the infertility journey, then like educate yourself, understand what like PCOS, endometriosis is, like irregular periods, like different types of infertility issues. Like if that's really what you want to do and be there for your friend, educate yourself. Don't expect your friend to educate you. I know also like talking to your partner, like I feel like my relationship with my husband has gotten so much stronger with us just like talking about like our feelings, and him actually like as an Indo-Caribbean man, they don't talk about their feelings. And a lot of like I feel like a lot of men, it's called toxic masculinity, are raised not to talk about their feelings. And so trying to get your partner on the same team as you. And also the biggest blessing for me has been connecting with a naturopath fertility specialist, because you get a different perspective than just the medical model. And I found that so helpful. And also like getting your partner involved and going to like, I did like a 2-month fertility detox, and he was like a part of it. He changed his diet too. And like, we did it together. But yeah, like it's like you're a team, you're trying to create the small person. So that's how it should be. It should be a team effort. It shouldn't just be on you. So like I could go on and on and on because I feel
you're so like, in it still currently.
Like I'm living it. Yeah, I'm living it. So it's a lot. And like, yeah, just this having a support team of people is really helpful. Like someone that you can talk to when you're having a low day or a high day is very important. So.
And I would just like to add to that. I mean, I had one child. He's grown, and you know I have grandchildren now. But there was a point in time. Again, my husband and I have been together 20 years, and when you're with somebody, you definitely want. When you have that need, we all most of us here know that need to want a baby, right? And you want to have a baby with that person. And I remember and being able to allow yourself to have feelings of anger.
Yes.
It was because I felt a lot of shame about that, because I remember when I was at the peak of like, I want a baby so bad. I want to be able to give my husband a baby, just like you talked about, Kat, and not being able to do it. And then that Christmas that was happening, both of my sister-in-laws got pregnant. And I didn't even want to be in the same room as them. And it wasn't through them. I was happy for them, but I was so not wanting to be a part of that. And then that made me feel bad. So just being able to have a space where you can share those feelings. I was able to speak to my husband about it. But you know, he didn't really get it at the end of the day, because at the end of the day, he's like, I'm fine with just being an uncle and we're good to go. So don't worry about it. But allowing you to have those feelings of whatever they are and not beating yourself up for them. Yeah, because I wanted to punch some pregnant ladies in the face at that point. I'm just gonna say it.
Honestly, whenever I see birth announcements, Wendy, like it kills me. Seeing birth announcement, like during, like I think everyone was fucking pregnant during Christmas. Excuse my language, and like I. Like that I would have been like 3 months. Like this is the time that we would have been telling people during Christmas. And then like I was sitting there with an empty womb, like crying because I'm like, everyone's pregnant and I'm not pregnant. This sucks. And like I remember just sitting there with my hubby, and he was like, it's okay. Like it's gonna happen for us. I'm like, why are you such a good guy? Like go away.
And I think for myself, speaking on behalf of somebody who has been there to support losses. So when you do have those close friends who have gone through something so traumatic, and like you know, I always encourage, like, listen. You know, this isn't about, you're not going to give advice. There's not going to be any advice or suggestions that you're going to be able to give that is going to make this better. And like, sorry, because like I feel you, you know. So.
Yeah.
I think the worst possible thing that anyone could have ever possibly say to me is like, well, at least you have one child.
Oh my God.
And like, it's like, there's been so many things that like people have said to me, like, why don't you just stop? Like, just be one and done. And it's like, you know, my son, all he's ever, like, as soon as he could start speaking at the age of 3, all he's asked for is to be a big brother. He just wants to be a big brother. Like, that's all he wants to do. And as a mom, it sucks. It sucks that you feel like you can't deliver that, or you can't give that to him. And he's like, as you saw him, my little man, he's my world. And as a mom, you want to be able to give your child everything. And it will, like, it's gonna happen. It's totally gonna happen. But yeah, all like his birthdays, his like every Christmas, he's like, I just want to be a big brother, mommy. And if it doesn't work out, then we're gonna adopt. Like, that's our plan. So
I love that.
I am so grateful that you have that option. I lost marriages because of that.
Yeah, my husband, like,
So,
that's like,
you are blessed to have that kind of support.
yeah, no, like we really, if it doesn't work out for us, then we're adopting, and we're going, like, we will give a child a life that they could have not had, and Kai will get to be a big brother.
Yes. I'm sending you hugs, Saira.
Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Jennifer, did you want to chime in on this topic?
I definitely don't have like personal experience with that because I'm not there yet. But yeah, I definitely have seen and worked with amazing women who are trying to get pregnant. And it is such a journey. And like Anna said, you just have to listen and not saying like
all those stupid things that people said to you. Like, who said that?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Sorry.
No.
I'm like, really?
And I find that, like, I'm so happy that you have a team that you trust, Saira, to, you know, like, support you and stuff, because if it's one thing working in healthcare that I realized is that as, like, if you're a practitioner or you're a doctor, like, you are the thing that is distant enough with your patients that they feel distant enough from their lives that they can tell you things without worrying about how you're going to feel.
The judgment.
Because sometimes, like, you know, it's great to have support, but sometimes you just want, like, sometimes you're trying to stay strong for other people, and sometimes it's not, like, you just have to let it out and feel the things you feel and just, like, let it out on somebody. That is, you know, that's their job to do.
My naturopath, like, my first session with her, I was crying for 30 minutes. And now, like, she's just so phenomenal. So I'm just very grateful for my team.
Nice.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Does anybody else want to chime in? Nope. Okay. Well, do we want to give everybody 1 minute just to give their final note of advice on whatever topic you want? Everybody's got 1 minute. Go, Kat.
Okay. My 1 minute of advice: find yourself in a great support group with Big Girl Interrupted. Because
I like that advice.
Instagram, I would never have found Wendy and Hazel. I would have never started my weight loss journey. I would have never started to meet wonderful women like Anna, Sarah, and Jennifer. So join the gang, everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Join it. That's my 1 minute advice.
Thanks for the endorsement. That's awesome.
Thank you.
And
Sorry,
I
that's my
I
favorite.
just want to continue to encourage women to talk about their issues, to talk about their trauma, to find safe spaces. You never know where that would be and who that will be with. It is hard to put yourself out there, but to still do it, you know. And even if you're not received in a manner that is appropriate, because some people, I don't know, I can't explain everybody. But even if you're not received in a way, you know, don't let that discourage you, because there are people who need to hear what you're going through, who need to hear and learn from your experiences, and who also need to grow from what you have to tell them. So I'm really, like I said earlier, like I'm amazed, and I'm at awe, and I'm enjoying this sharing trend where women are really getting up and they are speaking, and how empowering that is, not only for themselves but for others. So yeah, I've been impacted by so many women's stories, and I'm so grateful for everything that I've learned from their experiences, and been able to share with others who felt isolated. So, you know, we all have a difference to make. So it's just, yeah, I encourage everybody, all the women, like, to continue.
Yes. What a beautiful message.
Just to piggyback on both of you, like, create your own community. I mean, and be mindful of who's in your community, because not everyone wants to see you succeed and wants to see you do well. Like, I know for me, trust your body. When your body's saying, this person, I don't know about this person. Like, you know, it took me 5 years to, like, let go of a really toxic person in my life who I thought was, like, my biggest cheerleader. But really, she was this person that was constantly bringing me down or manipulating me. And because, like, I'm such a nice person, I'm just like, oh, that's just how she is, and blah, blah, blah. But really, it's like you're just constantly being drained. So really be mindful of who you choose to be around you. Like, you know, Hazel, Wendy, Catalina, Jennifer, Anna, these are great people. You know, and, like, look at those characteristics. Like, if you have someone that's, like, you know, cheerleader of Jennifer, like, awesome. Like, Jennifer's, like, just got her degree. Amazing. I'm gonna celebrate with you. Like, if you have people who are jealous, like, who are constantly like, oh, you shouldn't do that, then maybe those people shouldn't be in your life. The shouldn'ts, the couldn'ts, the wouldn'ts, like, okay, bye. Like, that's nice. Like, and you will find good people that will be there for you, that will support you, and that'll cheer you on. It's just, you know, like, just, you have to shed the old to look at the new. You have to make room for those people. So, so if I could say anything about that, I know for me, I did, like, a full, like, transformation of my circle. And, like, I can tell you, like, I'm so grateful and so happy with the people who I have around me now.
Amazing.
So yeah.
Amazing.
Yay.
Jennifer, you're up to the plate.
I don't think I can say anything more. No, I'm kidding. Really great points everyone said. If I had one message to say, it would be to be vulnerable. Vulnerability was my word of the year last year, because I really struggled with that. But, you know, the reason why I'm in what I'm in is because actually my mom, she was diagnosed with uterine cancer when I was young. And going through that as an only child was really hard. So, you know, like, now she's, like, we try to live a very healthy lifestyle. We're very close now, and I'm really grateful for her medical team. But it really inspired me being, like, a 6-year-old child, not knowing what's going on, and kind of been taught to kind of, like, keep it inside, like, keep it together, kind of be this perfect person for everyone to think. so I wasn't comfortable sharing so many things about myself that I struggled with. And it wasn't until even like a few years ago where I just, or like even just last year, I was still learning, and I'm still learning, that it doesn't make you weak. It actually makes you stronger, and it makes you more relatable, because people listen to your story and they're like, wow, I really connect with this person. Whereas if you have this perfect person, you're like, oh, I feel really, really self-conscious around this person. Yeah, exactly. So just be vulnerable, be yourself, and there is so much community out there for you to be a part of. Yeah.
What beautiful answers. Hazel, do you have a last words?
Last words. Stay true to yourself. Don't forget to love you. And just like all the other women said, find a community, because your community is what's going to have your back through the good and the bad. And it's going to be your place of safety, where you can truly show who you are, and where you can also, develop yourself internally, like really learn about who you are and what you want to be when you grow up.
Yes. I love that. What am I going to say? I got so entwined into what all you guys were saying. I don't even know what I'm going to say now. Go out there and be the badass that we all know you are. Women, we create this world. The world would be nowhere without us. And never forget your worth. And if anybody in this world is making you second guess your worth, chuck them. And you don't have to apologize for anything.
Yes.
No is a full sentence, my friend. Never forget that. And just one more thing, because trauma is where my heart is. That's all my lovely, beautiful, resilient, strong trauma warriors out there. I hope you see yourself the way that the people love you see you.
Yes.
And that is it. Thank you so much for everybody that tuned in. Thank you so much, you beautiful, beautiful souls. You guys are amazing. I'm so thankful and grateful that you joined us. Hazel is always the brains behind these wonderful things. Thank you, Hazel, for always being creatively wonderful and putting these things together. And anybody that tunes in, all these lovely ladies' information is going to be down in the notes.
Yes.
So
follow us on social media. All their stuff is on social media, and we'll be there forever.
Hazel, you need to do like a part 2 of this. Like, this is a lot of fun.
It's been a great night, ladies. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye. Nice meeting you all.
Likewise. Nice meeting you guys.
You as well. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.